Hi everybody, this is Tom from the YouTube channel If This Car Could Talk. I'm glad you're here for episode number 42. In today's installment, we're bringing you a fabulous, low-mileage time capsule in the form of a 1989 Chevrolet Camaro IROC-Z. I'll let the car's longtime caretaker and owner tell you all about this beautiful pony car that has racing heritage in its DNA. Now, let's go for a ride.
Hi, my name is Mike Lamberth. I live here in Phoenix, Arizona, originally from Rockford, Illinois. I currently own a 1989 Camaro IROC-Z. I purchased the car in spring or summer of 1990. The car was a little over a year old. It had gotten repossessed, and come to find out, I knew a car salesman at one of the dealerships there in town, and I mentioned to him that I was looking for one. And while there were still new ones to be had, just didn't like the color combinations on them and the options. And when the IROCs first came out in '85, all the engines were 305s, and I wasn't impressed with the horsepower. Loved the car, loved the looks, but the 305 just wasn't enough horsepower for that type of car, I thought. And at that time, all the cars came out with these third brake lights that they put on all the new cars, and it had this ginormous third brake light on the top of the back of the window, and I just thought that it didn't look good. So I just went on, didn't think any more about it, and then a few years later started looking for an IROC. Met several car salesmen, got a call one day and said, hey, we got an IROC, just got repossessed through the bank, and you should come and take a look at it. And so went to look at it, loved the car, loved the color, the interior, everything about it was the right combination. And it had the 350 motor in them. And they didn't come out with a 350 engine in them until in '87. In order to get the 350 motor, they all had to be an automatic, which I was fine with that. I've owned this car for over 30 years now, and with the intention of when I bought this car, I'm never going to get rid of it, and here it is over 30 years later, and I still have it. When I first purchased the car, being repossessed, it had some light scratches down the sides, and so a year or so after I had the car, went to a friend of mine who owned a body shop, and I said, hey, I need to get rid of these, and so we ended up disassembling the car, down to bare bones, and then he color sanded it, and we repainted it, and I put the car all back together. So other than that, that's really the only changes that have ever been made to that car. But the paint on the car is well over 25 years old. The only thing I've done to the car was, just keep up with the maintenance. Belts and hoses, of course, over 30 years had to be replaced, and tuning it up. And the original tires were on the car for over 25 years, and I finally replaced them. What happened was I picked up a nail in the tire and took it up to the discount tire to get it changed, and they wouldn't touch it. So I had to put new tires on it. But the amazing thing was that I found was the tire technology 25 years later. When I drove that car off the parking lot, started driving it home, the car handled better, it rode better, it felt totally different. And those people who know about the IROCs, it was based around international racing champions, where one company built every single car, and all the top racers in Indy cars, NASCAR, all the different racing series competed against each other. So there was no advantage. It was all driver and their ability to race against everybody else in the racing series in the same car. And it was, so that was what's unique about the IROC, was it was based around that racing series. These cars, while they didn't have a lot of horsepower, They are amazing handling cars. If you want to go around the corner, you better hang on because it's going to go. But it's a beautiful car. I love how it looks. When they first came out, I'd been talking about one day getting an IROC, and a friend come over to the house and pulled up in a brand new one. And of course, I wasn't a happy guy because he had a brand new IROC and I didn't, and I'd been looking at one. But again, his had the 305, and it was a 5-speed, and I loved the car, but just wasn't crazy about the smaller engine. But again, I've owned this car over 30 years. At that time, there were thousands and thousands of them running around. And only in the last 4 or 5 years that I started driving this car more and getting it out, taking it to some Chevy shows, taking it to local car shows. It has gotten the looks, the respect, and the attention that it deserves now. I mean, it's an amazing car, and people always ask me, where I've been hiding this car, because it has 33,600 miles on it. Very, very low mileage car, and it still looks brand new. I've painstakingly taken care of it. If any part broke, I made sure that it was an exact replacement of those parts to maintain its originality. It came with the AM/FM cassette. It's still there. I mean, his original carpeting, original weather stripping, everything on this car is original except for when I had to have it painted. My plans for this car is to keep it for as long as I can, make sure that it stays in the shape it's in. I appreciate everybody looking at this YouTube. You can understand the uniqueness of this car and what they were all about at the time. My favorite thing about the IROC is just it has T-tops, and I love driving it with the tops off. It has the same motor as the Corvette in that year. Not as much horsepower as the Corvette, but the car, just the way it handles. One time we went out to the lake, and there was a lot of curvy roads, and you could just hammer down, take those curves, and just hang on, because it'll give you a ride. And that's what I love about that car, is just the way it handles, and the color of the car. It just stands out, and I love how it looks.
Thanks for all of that info on your classic Camaro, Mike, and for sharing it with all of our friends on YouTube. Guys, believe me when I tell you that this car is much nicer in person than it even appears in these photos. It truly is a time capsule and is a testament on how meticulous care and maintenance will help any car look its best, even after 31 years. Be sure to tune in again next Thursday when we'll detail the fascinating history of one of the lowest production specialty Camaros to ever appear on the new car marketplace. See you then, and remember, be safe out there.